What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Listography. Jason, Joe, and Krams are here doing an album review today of a record that is, 2 weeks old at this point, something like that. We're talking about the new album by The War on Drugs, I Don't Live Here Anymore. I think all of us are decently big War on Drugs fans. I had them winning 2014 Album of the Year for me with Lost in the Dream. I believe Joe had a Deeper Understanding on his list for that year. Cram did.
I think I nominated both of them, but I prefer Deeper Understanding to Lost in the Dream, which is a rare opinion.
I don't think they made my list, but they were like right there.
All right, well, let's see how we feel about this new one.
Here's how I feel. I friggin' love it. I think it's amazing. I can't stop listening to it. I listen to it all the time. When we're doing our homework for the listography, I've got whatever we're listening to there in my headphones, and then I take them off and I listen to just a few seconds of the new War on Drugs album. It's an easy 5 stars, and I'm like kind of dumbfounded by how much I love it, because I was worried it would sound like exactly what I expect it to sound like kind of just like all the other ones, and it does. And it doesn't disappoint me at all. It just blows me out of the water. It's exactly what I expected, just a million times better. They just are just masters of this sound. They execute it so well. The guitar lines on this album alone could be pop songs. Like, they're so catchy. They're so hooky. Everything sounds so good. I don't want to spoil the end of the year albums video, but this is a Ronald Reagan 1984 re-election kind of front runner going right now. So, I liked it a lot.
For the most part, I agree with Krams or everything he said. I don't have it at 5 stars. I have it at 4.5. But it's a shoo-in. It's a lock for top 5. I don't know if it's going to win. Right now, I have it pacing. It's ahead of the field. And I agree, it's so unbelievably catchy. It's like every song is Red Eyes level, like catchiness. And like I expect that for like 3 or 4 songs. Like I've had The War on Drugs in my top 10, I think, since Slave Ambient. Every time. I don't think they ever cracked my top 5, but they're always like right there. And on this one, they just take it to a whole nother level. Every guitar line, every hook, every melody is just so unbelievably catchy. I think it's fantastic. And the only thing I can think maybe that I'd get tired of all the hooks on repeat listens, but I've heard it 3 times now and it's still great. I even forgive the Dancing to Desolation Row, Bob Dylan little lyrics in there. That it's a little too indie on the nose for me, but it doesn't matter because the music is just top notch. The lyrics are nice throughout, and I just think it's a really, really strong album.
Yeah, I agree mostly as well. I like it a lot. I like A Deeper Understanding, but that album had the problem where I thought it was too similar to Lost in the Dream. But I think the difference here is I think A Deeper Understanding was too reliant on the sound. Like, so much of that record was about the mood and the space, and like, look how well we can like make this record sound and feel, and how great we are at building the sound up. And they're still great at it, but now I think the songs have elevated from where they were on A Deeper Understanding. I think the sound of the record is just in a supporting role here. And even though it's still great, the songs are much more hook filled and they move along at like a better pace. The record's sequencing is excellent. I think opening with Living Proof is amazing. Closing with Occasional Rain is really good. You get the really slow, like just organ and synth track until the end when the drums come in on Old Skin. But then they immediately follow that slower track up with Wasted, which is really upbeat driving, really like hard driving drums. It's a little experimental in places, like here and there, they'll mess with the formula a little. Like I Don't Want to Wait has that very cool oddly processed vocal sound, programmed beat. Sounds a little like maybe Peter Gabriel in the verses. Victim's really cool. It's got some interesting movement in the bass. It feels like it's speeding up the whole time. So it is very, very much like the last 2 or 3 records. And if you like those, you'll probably like this. But I think it's different enough, and I think the songs are strong enough that it doesn't matter that they're kind of repeating themselves. They're just kind of on a roll.
Yeah, the songs are strong enough that they could have changed their sound and still have it be a 4-star record. Like it would, because the songs are just so good. I really like what is it? Harmonia's Dream is friggin' awesome. Just like, so the guitar sounds on this are just like so magical. And it's got like this nice, like casual dreaminess to it, like it does on the other stuff. But this one is like, just grips you in a little more, and it harkens back a little bit more, I'd say, to 80s dream pop with the guitar sounds specifically. But yeah, the melodies and the guitar parts are just center stage here. Like the way what the songs are about and what the album is about is kind of, to me, just like a very much an album about moving forward, like always reflecting on the past and kind of, like seeing what the consequences are and how you're going to attribute all of these life lessons to moving along with your life. So in that way, it's sort of like a big, like folky anthem kind of album, but with the sound and everything behind it is just like a big amusement park of just ear noises. It's just so good. I love their sense of space and time and their playing. It's like casual and earnest at the same time. Yeah, I Don't Want to Wait is really cool. Change has this really beautiful outro with the piano. The album is like not pretentious at all, but you can tell most of the lyrics are really deep in thought, which I really like. Title track is just so simple and catchy. It's almost like, it doesn't sound like The Edge from U2, but the way like those guitar parts just kind of go over and over the whole song and just hypnotize you and reel you in and catch, like I just have like 3 notes of one song on this album in my head for like 2 hours, and it's just awesome. And yeah, I've listened to it over and over and don't skip any songs, and it's me just going like this the whole time I'm listening to it. It's such just a really satisfying listen. Like it's enjoyable, it's just the right pace. It's friggin' awesome.
Yeah, I think you definitely touched on something with that kind of repetition, how he builds off like these simple riffs, and like there's always like this driving kind of up tempo drum beat behind everything. Really, like you get that 80s feel, like that Springsteen kind of 80s, and that Dire Straits kind of, like if they transported a little more to the 80s and took a more 80s sound, that ringing guitar, sort of The Edge. Like you can hear all these like sort of derivative like parts, but the way he kind of pieces it all together, I think is very original sounding. But you can definitely hear Dylan in the lyrics and the vocal style, and Knopfler and The Edge and the guitar and everything else, and some 80s Springsteen, even like a little Killers in the kind of beat and the forward momentum. But the way like everything comes together, it doesn't sound like anything else. It's still unique sounding and his own style. Like he has his own sound now from the past 3 or 4 records going back to Slave Ambient. He's really refined and like just hammered into being like this sound that now we associate with the war on drugs. It's not wholly original, but I think the way it all comes together and the way he's formed it is a unique sound that only really he can pull off. And it's just a wonderful mix of catchy guitar and these great melodies and this like forward, like always forward momentum on the drum and the bass. And just really like, I don't know, it just makes me happy to listen to. Like there's nothing like sad sack about it. Like just the way it drives forward feels like I'm like, driving on the highway or like getting to my next chapter in life. Like it's never looking back, always moving forward. And it's just really nice to listen to. Really enjoyed it.
The last thing I'll add, I was reading a little bit about this record and how they had to kind of all go their separate ways into quarantine. And I think that happening allowed the individual members to have more control over their parts, because Adam wasn't with everybody the whole time, kind of steering the ship. So he said it was a lot about letting go of control and letting people, feel their way around the tunes themselves. And I definitely think you can feel that. I think there seems to be a bit more freedom in the playing, which, I mean, it still sounds the same, but there's I think a little more looseness, which is really nice on this record. I don't think I said yet, I'm at 4.5 on this as well. Like Joe, it's in my top 20 currently. It's November, so we're starting to think about end of the year, and it will be in the mix. When I go through and reevaluate and re-listen to things, it could sneak into the top 10 for sure.
At the height of like Lost in the Dream, and when Red Eyes was huge and commercials and all over the place, I kind of was thinking like, I like this a lot, but I think they're going to kind of just like, this is going to be it for them. Like, there's no way they're going to capitalize on this. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way they're going to be able to come up with something new or recreate this, but so wrong.
Join us next time when Cram lets us know how he feels about the new War on Drugs record. Thanks for watching, everybody. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you have not subscribed yet. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram's down there in the description. Leave a comment, and we'll see you next time.